All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to another show. This is a reaction to the college football playoff doing their top 25. And right now, we just finished the USC versus Seton Hall game. They had their Bahama Classic or something. That one ended 83-81, which I believe I said, I said that in the chat. What else do we got here? Hold on. Let me find some things. So, right now they're going to talk. They're going to give their. They're going to probably set the table just a little bit for the top 25, and then after the top 25, we know how it is. They're going to go into the top 12, and they're going to go into the bracket. Now, one thing that I do want to mention. Okay, I haven't moved this at all. This will move a little bit. My only thing is, we're coming off of what? We're coming off of a pretty slow week and a pretty weak week if we're going to look at it like Oregon and USC, who was kind of in the mix. If USC beat Oregon, they would have definitely entered themselves into the mix. But like this week was kind of quiet, so I don't think there's going to be too much movement when it comes to it. But I think we'll just roll with it. We'll see what happens and who goes where. But let me, in fact, let's move some of this stuff around. Oh, look at that. Arizona at 25. Okay, let's go 21 through 25. We have SMU, Pitt, Georgia Tech. Who else? Tulane and Arizona. Tulane and AZ. Those will be our teams from 21 to 25. 16 through 20 is Texas. USC, hold on. 16 through 20. Hold on. Whoa. We're going a little fast. Texas, USC, Virginia, Tennessee, and ASU. Okay. So now the committee's they're highlighting USC and some of their big wins. Record 8-3, FPI rank 11th, strength of schedule 19. Best win is versus Michigan, but their losses, they got 3 of them. They've lost against Illinois, Notre Dame, and Oregon. And I think we know, we know that the Illinois game really affected, because the Notre Dame one, if Notre Dame went to the playoffs, here we go, 15 is going to be Michigan. I think we know what would have been if Notre Dame went to the playoff, I don't think that would have held USC back too much. But their week 6 loss against Illinois, they've talked about that one being a big reason what would hold them back, because Illinois is nowhere in the mix of Big Ten talks or the college playoff talks. But then them losing to Oregon as well. Like, I saw the playoff prediction, like there is a number where the percent goes from like 60% to like 2% after their loss. Vandy will be the 14th ranked team in the country. Let me put down 14. Let me put Vandy. All right. Vandy's got one more big one. They got Tennessee, and I do think winner of Vandy Tennessee probably goes, if their records stay the same. 13 is going to be Utah. Let's see how much they love Utah and those U boys. I'm interested, and I'm kind of just waiting to see when the committee's like, nah. Oh, 12 is going to be Miami. Okay, 12 is going to be Miami. Miami. I think Miami's had a pretty decent season this year. I know they got the 2 losses that will, and I think Miami moves up 1. Utah moved down 1. Who did Utah play this week? Who did Utah play? Okay, BYU at 11. So BYU has not moved at all. Okay. I don't know about that one. Don't know if I agree with that. No. The biggest one of BYU's case, where we're gonna see teams 10 through 1, obviously. I mean, just record wise, like let's pull up the phone here. Football rankings, top 25. Bama at 10. Number 10 is Bama, but then they did 9 as Notre Dame. Alright. Alright. It is what it is. They're giving a lot of credit to Jeremiah Love. I understand that. Okay, hold on. Here we go. So then 8 could be. Sorry, I'm kind of ahead. I'm not ahead. Like they still need to talk about Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Oregon, Georgia, Texas A&M, Indiana, and Ohio State. But when you look at the remainder, Bama, Notre Dame, and OU. Bama, Notre Dame, OU. So there's the 3 teams. Those are the only 3 teams. When you look at record-wise, those are the only 3 teams that are worse than BYU because they have 2 losses. But I do think, I mean, I'm not gonna be stupid. I think the committee's gonna favor Oklahoma, their win against Bama over BYU, because I don't know if Bama could have beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. And that's me genuinely being honest. Like, I think Oklahoma has caught their stride at the right moment. Okay, 7's going to be Ole Miss. No shocker there. Okay, Ole Miss. So then 6, let's see how the remainder of NCAA football. Oregon, Texas Tech, Oregon, Texas Tech, Georgia. Okay, Oregon 6. Oregon. Come on, put the Red Raiders. Put the Red Raiders. So Oregon went up 1. Ole Miss went down 1. Texas Tech sits there at 5. Okay. That makes sense. Texas Tech sits at 5 with a 10-1 record. Georgia at 4. Okay. Georgia. And then I would guess 1 through 3. Same as last. OSU, Indy, and A&M. Alright. Okay, so those are the top 3, 1 through 3, 1 through 3. Alright, people. Okay, so this is how it looked last week. let's move. Okay, let's start deleting some stuff. We have an Texas Tech. Okay. Move this one. I don't think Georgia Tech is going to be there. I'm curious to see if they have BYU there. Tulane's probably still going to be that. Highest ranked 9-2 teams. Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Bama, the Hurricanes, the Utes, the Commodores, and then the Wolverines. 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th, 13th. So then, hold on. Put where... Have they moved the... Alabama and... Oh! Okay, they have. They have moved the bracket around. Okay, that's how similar... Okay, this matchup's the same. This matchup's the same. These... We switch here. Bama still stays the 10. Miami still... Okay. Ole Miss goes here. Oregon goes here. Okay, because I was sitting here and I was wondering what the hell, when are they going to show the Ohio State, Georgia, Texas A&M, and Indiana. Okay, there we go. There's the top. Yep. Officially this is what it is. Okay, because I was sitting here and I was going, when is it going to change? When are they going to do the... No. There was... Let's... And I think bubble, teams on the bubble, first teams out. Well, actually, let's look. So it's Utah, actually. So the first two out are the Cougs and the Utes, which is what it is. I think now, if I were to compare out of the teams that we got right here and who's in it currently, Utah, I don't think Utah's better than Texas Tech. Utah and BYU are not better than any of these teams here, respectfully. I think Utah could beat Oregon because they have in the past. I think Utah and BYU could beat one of these two teams. I think BYU could get revenge against Texas Tech if they played each other again. I think BYU could beat Tulane. I think I think Utah could probably beat Tulane too. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's roll into it, shall we? All right. I think I'm going to stick with the same result from this game. I'm still going to roll with Texas Tech. And now out of OU and Notre Dame, considering... Okay, because I'm trying to look at this from hindsight and stuff. I think after last week's performance, there's a difference with Oklahoma playing Missouri, and then there's a difference between Notre Dame playing Syracuse. I think the level of competition, I think Oklahoma would be more ready to go in this game. I think this game comes down to the defense, though, personally, because I think what if Mateer doesn't show up? What if Mateer and the offense is struggling? Because against Missouri, there were multiple chances where the Sooners could have scored points, and they left points on the board. They did. Now, Oregon and Miami. Who did Miami play this last week? I don't even remember. See, that's why they kind of joked. Top 5 of the college football. Look at this. Here, let me show you. Look at this. Top 5 of the college football playoff unchanged. Ducks leapfrog Ole Miss. They played standings. Who did Miami play? Virginia Tech. Right. Because Coach Franklin was in the building. Road game. I think with just who. How do I say this? With how, because I've seen a lot of Hurricane games this year. I've seen a lot of Duck games this year. I think. Give me the Ducks, and especially if this is in Oregon. This would be I don't know about this one. Yeah, I think Bama could win this one. Because Bama would be coming off of a better 3-game stretch of who they played from their competition against Ole Miss. And I think, hear me out when I say this too. If Lane Kiffin is leaving and stuff, and if the reports are true of, he took a private plane to Baton Rouge, he's going to go play for the Tigers, this and that, I think there's a lot of distraction that can come from that, and a lot of outside noise, and it would just, it'd make for, you have a home playoff game, there's a lot of noise going on here, and then Bama, after winning the Iron Bowl, and I think even maybe winning the SEC championship game against Texas A&M, or they win the Iron Bowl, but they don't go to the SEC championship and ends up being Georgia and the Aggies going at it. They just sit here after a solid, we struggled against Oklahoma, we lost to Oklahoma, but then we bounced back, and then we won the Iron Bowl. I'm not even going to include who they played last week, because some of the opponents that they played last week was pretty soft, which is why there wasn't much movement at all. But yeah, with all the distractions going in, Alabama comes in here and they beat Ole Miss. Okay, let's move ahead now. I'm taking Georgia. Give me Georgia. And then out of OU and Ohio State, I want to see what Julian Sayin does this weekend against Michigan. I want to see if he's quote built for it, built for the big lights. And I've kind of talked about it and hammered this home a lot, where we have seen impressive games from him all year. There have been times where he hasn't looked like a freshman, but I'm curious to see in the biggest rivalry, biggest game of the season, because you kind of can't compare what this Michigan game is going to be against what the Washington game, the Penn State, the Illinois, and everybody who they've played up until this point, because it will be Michigan, and it's going to be in Ann Arbor too. And so I'm curious. I mean, I've been talking about it a lot. I'm going to pick Oklahoma now, even though I might be wrong, because I think Ohio State's defense can probably shut down Oklahoma's offense. But in the same turn, I think it's going to turn into a defensive, slugfest, because if Sane is shaky in the Big Ten championship game and shaky against Michigan, I don't know how he's going to play against Oklahoma, because truthfully, I think Oklahoma's defense is better than Michigan's. Is Oklahoma's defense better than Indiana's? Probably not, but in the top 5, definitely. And so we have, I don't know, maybe a low. This has the makings of either being an instant classic or a low-scoring 21-14 game. Okay, Texas A&M and Oregon. I'm gonna ride with Oregon. I'm riding with Oregon. And then out of Alabama and Indiana, I think neutral site. I think Cignetti can get it done. There's no reason they shouldn't win this game. I think they could win it. All right, now we have our top 4, which I think a reoccurring team in the top 4 that I've personally had and always had is these guys. I've had them in the top 4 before. I think I've had Ohio State or Bama in the top 4. Out of Georgia and Oklahoma, I'm gonna take the Dogs. I don't know if the Dogs are gonna lose another game this year. Now, if Georgia loses to Georgia Tech next week, that's going to open up a lot of eyes, because I think that puts Georgia Tech right back in the mix for, like, let's go look here. I think excuse me. I think let's go rankings, standings. Where are the standings? Because look at this. All right, I need everybody to look here. Okay. So, Georgia Tech is sitting right here at the 4. So, if the ACC championship started tomorrow, we'd have the Cavaliers against Pitt. Okay. And then 9-2, 9-3. Okay. If Georgia Tech beats Georgia, so they go to 10-2, they stay right here. The only thing that would help their case is if Virginia loses, if Pitt loses, and SMU loses. So let's go here. Could Virginia lose to Virginia Tech, a rivalry game? Yeah, I actually do. I think they could. Where the heck is ACC? Now Pitt. Who does Pitt play? Pitt plays Miami. And if Pitt is standing in Miami's way to get to the ACC championship game, Pitt's not winning this game. Okay, I know Pitt beat Georgia Tech and just laid it on them, and they were up 28 at one point. Georgia Tech made that thing 14-28 at halftime. I think without a crucial interception pick 6 that went 99 yards, I think Georgia Tech's winning that game. I think after a terrible first quarter start, but then the straw that broke the camel back of the pick 6, I'm kind of, there's parts of me where it's like, okay, maybe it's good that Georgia Tech lost that game to get that game out of the way, because like a bottle method, I don't know if that's the right word and verbiage that I'm trying to use here, but like you look at Texas A&M, Indiana, and you got Ohio State. You got 3 teams that have been tested all year, but like they're not going to, all this pressure of going undefeated regular season, winning their conference championship game, getting to the playoff, and then winning in the playoff and continuing that success and being undefeated, it's just going to build. That bottle's just going to build, and the pressure's going to build, and then it's going to explode. And it's the same thing with Oregon, because it's what happened to Oregon last year, and it almost happened to the Aggies last week because they almost lost to South Carolina. And so I think all this to say, the pressure of Georgia Tech building and building, I think it would have made the pressure even higher if Georgia Tech did come back and beat Pittsburgh, because then it all comes down to the Bulldog game. And I'm not going to lie, I think they would have lost that game with the pressure. But them coming off of a loss to Pitt, it kind of makes me go, okay, you lose one, and this is where you can have a get back, because they beat Georgia and they just kind of sit back and wait and watch other teams kind of help them out, because they're not in control of their own destiny anymore. SMU has to go to Cal. I don't know if Cal. Oh, shit. Now that I'm thinking about it, Cal just fired their head coach. So I don't know if Cal's going to win this game. So SMU. We might have SMU versus Miami. Now that I'm thinking about it. Because I don't think. I mean, I want the Bears to win. Believe me, I want Cal to win this game. But there have been some games that have been rough for the Golden Bears this season. So let's look then at who. Because where's Cal? Cal's sitting here at the bottom, 3-4. This one. I'm thinking about this one early in the year. This one was a big one. Okay, now they did beat Louisville. I do know that they beat Louisville. This was a big one too, because at this point, this is where they could have made, because you win these 4 in a row. Look at this. 3 ranked wins. Cal could have definitely got back in, but I mean, as we see, they're 6-5. Struggle season, and with them firing their coach, I don't know if they could beat SMU. I don't. I could be wrong. Anyways, all that being said, Miami's sitting here. If Miami takes care of business against Pitt, they move to 6-2. So then Pitt would drop to 6-2, but then 8-4. They'd be 8-4, 6-2, 8-4. They would be 6-2, but 10-2. Oh yeah, Miami can win this game. Now, is it on the road? No, it's at Pitt. Oh shit! So Pitt could play upset, but Pitt also could have played upset against Notre Dame, and we saw what happened. We saw what happened there. Where, look at this, 37-15. This doesn't say, because let's go over here to the win measurement. It was 28-3 at one point. Okay. And then there was a 37 burger here. Jeremiah Love had a huge game. Jeremiah Love has had 2 back-to-back really big games, which I definitely think helps his case for Heisman. Which we'll probably we'll make a video and we'll do a stream on that some other time. On does Jeremiah Love deserve the Heisman? Am I tripping? Where am I going? Back to rankings. No, hold on. Standings. Because what were we were talking about Georgia Tech. I think this is going to be the Big 12 though. Like it's kind of already been established. Big 10 championship game. SEC if it holds. SEC game if it holds. And then North Texas. Who does Navy have that can help propel them? Don't they have Tulane? No, they have Memphis and Army. One. Who does North Texas have? North Texas has Temple. Okay, so North Texas is going to the American Conference Championship game. And Tulane has to play Charlotte. You know, there's parts of me that want to see a little bit of chaos and watch these 2 teams lose. And I watch Navy beat Memphis and then Army and then they're in. Parts of me that want to see that a little bit because, yeah, the American's not set in stone yet. ACC, no. We need to play out every single game, which is this. Oh, this is a 1:30 game. I was wondering if it was a night game. So then what are the night games today? And by today, I say, today, I mean Saturday. Okay, they're in the dance. Ooh, so it could all come down to 6 p.m. in California. Can SMU beat California? Because, yeah, if Cal gets the upset on the Mustangs, SMU ain't going. In the Iron Bowl, it's a night game. This is going to be a big game. I think this is going to be a fun game. Here's what I'm worried about this game with LSU and Oklahoma. If LSU wins this game, I don't think Oklahoma goes to the playoff. I really don't. I think OU's sitting right here. They could drop out. I know they're 7th in the rankings. 8th. Okay, they're 8th this week. But one more loss. Because it's the same thing with Bama. We can't, if Bama loses, they're out. And I could think the same thing would apply to Oklahoma. Okay. Let's go back to the scores, though. Oregon beating Washington. This has the makings of this has upset written all over it too. This has Washington. This has Washington playing spoiler to little brother, and Oregon and Washington isn't the same as the Oregon State rivalry, but these two have had some big matchups in the last handful of years. But what this has the makings of, hey, we see that you're 10-1. We know that you're going to the playoff, but we're going to upset you and we're going to prevent you from going to the Big Ten championship game because Oregon is sitting right here and they need a little bit of help. They need Ohio State to lose to Michigan, or they need Indiana to lose to Purdue. Indiana is not losing to Purdue, so let's get that out of the way. So Oregon this weekend is probably going to be the biggest Wolverine fans there are. Like, that's simply put, that's just what it is. Because a 2-9 Purdue team is not, they are not beating Indiana. No, sir, not this year. We went BYU, UCF, Pitt, Miami. Again, if Pittsburgh is who sits in Miami's way, I don't. Then we know about the game, 10 o'clock. Let's see. Arizona State, Texas A&M, and Texas. Oh, so this is going to be a no. Look, PM. Wait a minute. Friday. Oh, no way. These are Friday games, and then Saturday. Hey, okay, they're splitting it up this year. We got some games on Black Friday. We got some games on Saturday. I did not know that. Okay. So these two can go to 7 overtimes on Friday. Okay. Maybe it was like this last week and I didn't even realize. Like, I don't remember, truthfully. Sorry. I know that sounds mean. I don't remember. Okay, but then let's close out of that. Hello, MJ. All right. Let's continue. Okay, so all this long-winded, because I never gave personally who I thought could win it all. No, never mind. I'm still going to sit with, if some teams run into each other in the playoff, revenge could happen. I.e., if Bama plays Georgia, these two meet up. If by some weird way Texas gets here at this and then Texas runs into Texas A&M, which I don't. I think teams that are out, and I mean out. I'm going to just try to go by the discipline of just record alone. Virginia's in if they win out and win the ACC. Okay, so I know they're all the way down here at 18. But if they just win out, they'll be fine. USC is out. Texas is out. Michigan needs to win out. They need to beat Ohio State, and then they need to... You know, I'm curious to see, would the committee keep a 10-win Michigan out? Because where would they put a 10-win Michigan? Would a 10-win Michigan replace Ole Miss? Would a 10-win Michigan replace... So that's why I'm a little curious about Oregon in their case for going to the playoff, which is why it's important for Oregon to win. Why it's important for Oregon to win this game against Washington, because if Oregon loses and drops to 10-2, and then Michigan's sitting there at 10-2, dude, because... Oh my gosh. No, there's still a lot. Oh my gosh. There are a lot of college playoff implications still. Holy fetch. Because I'm just trying to think here. Because Miami's in without the ACC championship game. Trying to look here. Vandy would have to win but get help. Utah would have to win and get help. Miami needs to just win. They need to beat Pitt. And even if they beat Pitt and don't go to the ACC championship game, they're in. Now, if Miami beats Pitt, gets to the ACC championship, and loses like SMU, they're not going to lose their way into the playoff. I don't think that's going to happen. BYU can't. Same thing with BYU. BYU cannot lose another game. I know they've only lost one, but BYU can't go willy-nilly into the Big 12, because I could see an 11-2 BYU miss the playoff. I can see an 11-2 BYU miss the playoffs the same way I can see a 10-2 Ole Miss the playoffs too, because BYU is not going to get favored if they lose the Big 12, just like how Miami won't if they lose the ACC. Bama's not going to the SEC championship, but if there's a little bit of, well, Bama in the SEC standings do not qualify. Same with Georgia, though, because okay, so if Georgia beats, no, because Ole Miss could get into the SEC championship game. So if, let's say, Bama wins, Georgia loses, Ole Miss wins, Ole Miss would be up here, but then there would be a lot of chaos too. If, let's say, Texas beats Texas A&M, Texas A&M would stay here, but then that would have, it'd be the difference of, okay, who's wearing the home jersey versus who's wearing the away jersey against Georgia. But then let's say Texas A&M, Georgia, they both lose, but Ole Miss and Bama wins. Let's try to do some mental gymnastics here. Texas A&M would drop to the 2. Ole Miss actually, so if Georgia and A&M lose, Bama and Ole Miss win, Georgia's out, it would be Ole Miss and Texas A&M. That's some fun mental gymnastics, because the tiebreaker between Bama and Georgia is Bama, but Bama, because the one team that is going, because it then would turn into, okay, you're 10-2, you're 11-1, you're 11-1, so it would be these two, because this second loss from Oklahoma would keep Bama out. Because they would all be tied in the conference, but then they'd probably go to overall. And then if they're all tied in the overall, they'd go to the head-to-head. I see how it's all set up. Okay. I'm rambling now. Notre Dame, they're in. They're not going to lose to, no, they're in. Oklahoma needs to beat LSU to get in because they're not going to the SEC championship game. Ole Miss needs to beat Mississippi State, but then also they can't do what BYU or Miami would do, because if they get to the SEC championship game and lose to Texas A&M or Georgia, they ain't going. They're not. I could see the committee being like, no, we're good. Again, Oregon can't lose to Washington. Yeah, I don't think it's safe for that, because because we're looking at all these teams, if one of these teams get their second loss and Michigan beats Ohio State, they're catapulting into the playoff. Damn. Okay, playoff week's gonna be fun. I mean, not playoff week. Rivalry week. If Tennessee, okay, where's this game? Okay, Vandy ain't going. No. I think Vandy's 2 losses are on the road. And I kind of... Tennessee, I will say this though. There have been games, the Georgian game that I'm thinking in particular, and the Arkansas game, and the Oklahoma game, where you should win this game. You are the home team. Well, and not necessarily this, but like this, dude, this was a freaking doozy. This game was phenomenal. Like, this one started 21-7. Like, Tennessee got after them in the first quarter, but that's forever ago. That was forever ago. All right. Damn. So, looking here, 3, 4, 5. They have a shot. Yep, they have a shot. They have a shot. I don't... Who does Utah play in the year? Oh, dude, this is going to be Jalen Daniels' last game as a Jayhawk. I could see him going out with a bang and throwing for 4 touchdowns. I don't know. Because look at Kansas. Look at what Kansas has done. They've lost 2 in a row. And so, what a perfect get back. Okay, we've lost 2 in a row. Let's bounce back here. I don't know what injury report would be, or because I haven't watched any Kansas games recently. I did watch the other thing too. I would kind of go, okay, watch out for Kansas. Is, dude, Kansas State was whooping Utah. Like, Utah needed to have a huge comeback to win that one. So I'm kind of I don't know if Utah can go though, because let's say Utah does win. They finish with 7-2, 10-2. They, unless BYU or Texas Tech loses, they're not going, and even in the head-to-head. Because didn't Texas Tech, in the head-to-head, Utah didn't beat either team, so. Sorry, Utah. I don't think you're going to the playoff. Don't know. Michigan, because from here on out, Texas. Okay, here's how Texas gets to the college playoff. They need to beat the Aggies. That's one thing. And then they need to sit back and watch, because if Texas beats the Aggies and then the Aggies lose the SEC championship, that's very favorable. But also, I wouldn't worry about, like, looking at it from this, like, rank-wise. I'd look at, they would need Alabama to lose the Iron Bowl. They'd need Ole Miss to lose their rivalry game. they would need there's a lot of stuff that would need to happen. They would need the worst team to win the ACC, and I mean like the worst. Like Miami would have to lose to Pitt, and then Pitt and Virginia would have to go, but then Pitt would have to win the ACC and be a 3-loss team winning the ACC. What else would have to happen? They need OU to lose to LSU. They would need Notre Dame's going, so let's not kid ourselves. They would need who does Texas Tech play? West Virginia. Ooh, at West Virginia. West Virginia did beat Houston. They would need everybody to lose, but not everybody. Like it would be because I think if everybody loses, nobody moves because they would just go from where they are right now. Okay, everybody lost. Everything kind of stays the same because everybody would move down, but then you'd have to move everybody down because they would lose. Yeah, they would need a lot. But if Texas does upset and beat the Aggies, and the 11th team and the 10th team lose, that they just fit right there. I don't know. I do not know. It'd be a lot. It's asking for a lot. But Michigan's sitting here at 15 to catapult into the dude. It's. I almost don't want to say it's going to happen, but if Michigan can take care of business against Ohio State, they'll be in the playoff. Now, where would they put Michigan? Now, if Michigan, here's the other thing too, is if Michigan beats Ohio State, goodbye Texas, because there goes their chances to get to the playoff. Because Texas would need, again, Texas needs Michigan, Vandy, a bad ACC championship game between Pitt and Virginia. Yeah, there would be a lot that needs to happen to get Texas there, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. Plus, the other thing too is we've seen Texas struggle, and I'm just kind of. I forgot they lost to Florida. Holy crap, I forgot they lost to Florida. I'm still kind of remembering this one. This game was closer than the score. Like, they got a big win. But this game was close. Alright. I'll stop rambling. I feel like I'm rambling now. Okay. Alright, people. We will end the stream here. I thank you guys for hanging out with me. This was the college football playoff rankings. I think now with the I didn't even do the national championship. If Georgia and Oregon end up playing each other in the national championship, I have shit. I shouldn't be yawning. I have no clue who'd win this game. Honest, because Georgia trying to be respectful here. Georgia would go through a team. Okay, they would go through the big. Because what if the Big 12? Because I don't think whether they win or lose the Big 12, I don't think they're going to get to the top 4. But so they'd go through a Big 12 champ, and I think the Big 10 championship winner is probably going to be just a little bit better than the Big 12 winner, because I do think Indiana's a better team than Texas Tech, and I do think Ohio State's a better team than Texas Tech, and same with BYU. Like out of Indiana, Ohio State, Texas Tech, and BYU, out of the top two teams who are playing probably for the conference championship, and to compare head to head, parts of me just the Big Ten. Big Ten's a little bit better, little less parity. I will say that, but Indiana, there's something different about Indiana this year. Now, if Indiana, I will say this, if Indiana runs into Notre Dame, watch out. Watch out. Shoot, I'm yawning. Sorry, people. Okay, we're going to end the stream there. But, yeah, like I said, guys, thank you for hanging out with me. This was a fun stream. These are the rankings. Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments, who you got winning it all. I think it's going to be a tough race. I think there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of playoff implications this weekend with the games and who's going to go where, who's going to play what, and when. So, yeah, look for Texas. Look for Michigan. Look for Washington. There's a handful of teams that could play upset this week. But I thank you guys for watching and hanging out. I'll see you guys in the next one.